Well, howdy. How are y'all doing? Legends 15K, how are you doing? He's going to go live. Yep. Occasionally I do. Let me turn the speaker off before we start getting feedback. Anyway, hope everyone's doing all right out there. I was kind of in ties with the video I did last night from Grandpa's Random Reviews, talking about what you're going to be doing different, but seems like at least with Spark and everything I hear about DoorDash and all that, um, you got to do other things besides just those gig apps. Sooner or later, they may fizzle out where you live. So you really kind of need to. What can you do to disrupt the gig economy in 2025? Okay, but yeah. So if things tank in your area and things get really slow, what are you going to do to continue to make money if it's a full time deal? Hello, Alex. Hope you're doing well out there. But there's a lot of people that. Okay, now I got to find something out. Oh, okay, okay. Got you. I clicked on your channel. I'm like, who be calling me Popo? That is y'all's name for me. Anyway, hello, Lisa. One emergency fund. Hello, my mommy. I see you found the tablet and you found me. Emergency fund, 3 to 6 months expenses. Oh, okay. You're over there. Cool. But, well, even for you, Kason, not exactly right now, but later, you got to, you got to, if you get a job, try to kind of have two things going, especially if when you get a car, you got a car payment, car insurance, and all that. Try to have some other kind of income coming in, mowing yards, whatever your side hustle is. That ways you can fall back on it. And I used to not think that way, you know, but I was fortunate. And when I was your age, I had parents and grandparents that could help me out, if it need be, and they did, and occasionally still do. But it's good to have like two or three different sources of income. But for like people doing gig work, don't count on it. Yeah, well, do now because you're older. Yeah, yeah, and well, at one time I did have two jobs, and I was 18 because I worked at Best Products, and then I got the opportunity to go to work at where, where my daddy worked. So I was working two jobs. Hello, T. Ron. Multi-app protect your income from deactivations and slow orders, especially across delivery types like food and grocery and packages and catering. But what happens if all that stops? What happens if, um, say, something happens to DoorDash and they get a huge lawsuit and they shut down, even temporarily? But I think you got other things going besides the gig apps. But a lot of people don't. Uh, you know, I think I personally think, and it's maybe because I'm older, but I've learned. I work for the state of Texas, and boom, I'm out the door. You know, You can't count on anything anymore. Kind of looks dark in here, doesn't it? I don't have any of the lights on. Well, I don't even know if you can see they keep smiling because I've got my big light back there. That kind of looks cool with the silhouette of that. Anyway, hello, pork chop. Hope you're doing well. I still haven't got to this. I was procrastinating. Oh, oh, and for anybody, and this is totally off topic, but for anybody who's been kind of following on the electric issue I have in this house, well, Encore showed up today, and nothing's wrong with the meter. So, back to square one. It appears to be the heating unit, because while they was here, and since the guy was very well experienced, I had him tell me, I said, can I kick the heater on and you show me and you tell me what you think? I kicked it on and he said that it was pulling some. He said, but older units, when it gets so cold outside, a lot of them have and he couldn't think of what it was called, but some kind of something in the heating unit will kick on and it will not kick back off. So that heater may be running constantly. Kind of like the fan motor, I guess, maybe. Anyway, and then he told me that the space heaters used a lot of electricity. And I said, well, let me go turn the central unit off and turn just the space heater on. He goes, yeah, do that. And then I'll show you how much they draw. Well, I did that, walked out there. He kind of looked at me and goes, you've got a pretty efficient space heater, because it was just barely moving the little bars. So the central unit's off, and it will remain off until something happens. I did talk to the landlord, and he's going to talk to his heating and air guy, and he's going to look into seeing about replacing it or whatever he needs to do. And he also gave me a break on the rent because of the expensive electric bill. That's that on that. Now back to I saw a squirrel and I got off course a little bit. Life is about the luck of the draw. Hello, Krista. Yeah, it can be. And sometimes life don't go as expected. I found that one out in 2000. Well, actually, kind of 2000 and 2001, especially in 2001. Unless the landlord will replace the heater, I would plan on moving out before next winter. He said he was going to work on it, and he's been a great landlord. Yeah, I'm not afraid to throw prices out there. It's $800 a month here. The electric bill's $320. He said, I tell you what, go ahead and pay $650 this month. And he goes, you know what the next one will be? I said, right now it's forecasted at $249, which now it's $260. But he's paying half the electric bill until we can get something done. So that's a good landlord, if you ask me. He seems, every time I make a calling or even texting, within an hour he's on it. So not many landlords like that. He's helping out, but I'm not going to take advantage of it. I'm still going to leave that unit off, and it's not going to be getting that cold. Not here this week. Oops, that wasn't supposed to happen. A question mark after your name. I'm doing talk to text. Oh. Yeah. He's a good landlord. I'm kind of curious as to what other houses he has, because he did tell me that this, and I think if I remember right, he either said it or he implied it that this is probably the cheapest of his rent houses. I'm kind of curious, if he's a good landlord, eventually I'd like to have maybe a little newer house, a little more modern. But if I stay in this town, then I wouldn't mind renting from him. Luck talk to Texas is always a mystery. I can't ever get mine to work. I don't. Every time I've been showed how to do it, I don't know. It doesn't work out too well. But anyway, that's that. Talking about doing the gig apps and then other things. I don't know. I'm glad I didn't just depend on like Spark, because with the way Spark is now, you can sit out there 5 or 6 hours and you might get 3 or 4 orders worth taking. And you might see a lot of garbage though. There was a post on a Facebook group for Spark. I think, yeah, it was on Facebook. They was talking about, he took a picture of a grocery basket full of, not completely full, but a lot of stuff in it. And he said that you couldn't believe that the order was only paying $13. And of course, everybody's like, you knew how much it was before you took it, blah, 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 blah. Landlord probably appreciates you are not being crackhead and doesn't want you to move out. Yeah, apparently he's taking care of me. Because I've been, I've steam cleaned the floors, because I got that steam cleaner and do a review on. Cleaned up the yard, mowed the yard already once. Hello, Presley. Giving up on gig apps? Yeah. But the guy said couldn't believe the order was only paying $13, and I've commented that a lot of times people are taking $13 orders, because it said something to the effect of they took it because it beat sitting in the parking lot and doing nothing. At least they'd rather make 13 and not make nothing. And it really kind of gets me when people say that. I get what they're saying. I do understand that. But the simple fact is, you're making $13 and not a shopping order. We all, unless it's a big shopping order, we all know if you've done Spark, or even, it don't matter if you've done Spark or not, just go on Walmart. The majority of the time, it's not going to take you a full hour on shopping orders. It can, but 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And that's what I said is, if you're just doing Spark occasionally or temporarily, it's not so bad. But you take a lot of $13 orders and you continue to take them for a year to 2 years, year and a half, and then you're going to have to stop and think, how many $13 orders has it taken me to buy this new set of tires that's going to cost me $1,200 to $1,400? And then your brakes are going to be having to be replaced. And, so transmission may fall out. So all those little $13 orders is barely clearing money on, but you can still make money on a $13 delivery. But on the long run, you can't just think about today. You got to think about 6 months or a year from now. In the long run, when you start having to replace stuff on your vehicle, was it really worth taking that $13 order? Or would it have been better to just sit there and wait until you got a $19 to $25 order? It just doesn't make sense. And it really hit home when I got my car totaled. Granted, I was lucky. I came out on that one. Nobody was hurt. That's number one. And I made more on the insurance than I paid for the car to begin with. So I came out good on that. But not everybody's that lucky. If you're just doing gig apps temporarily, whatever, just take it, be done with it. You're not going to be putting gazillion miles on your car and wearing your brakes out and tires out, a while back, I took Emily's car to get the tires rotated. she just put tires on that car last year. Yeah, it's probably been a year. Well, it's probably been a year and a half now because everything I think was recently. It actually was longer ago than that. Anyway, she just bought tires within the last year and a half or so. The guy at Discount Tires said, might start thinking about putting new tires on here. that's wearing some tires out really quick. And they were good tires to begin with, $1,300. But it's going to be that way on everybody if you're doing gig apps. That's what I say. If you can get your foot in the door on something else, and then just do gig apps occasionally and here and there, kind of like, I'm not saying that I'm doing the best thing, but I'm doing something besides just gig apps. Because Bite Squad, they delivered to the base. They shut down. They were big. They was as big as Uber here. Not now, of course, they're out of business, but they were a pretty big outfit, a lot of drivers. Anyway, you just don't know what's going to happen. So I think you need to put, what is that old saying? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Catering's what saved me from leaving gig app work. But what if things tighten up for these businesses that are doing the dinners and lunches and stuff for their employees or whatever, and they don't have any more catering apps or catering orders? Of course, you live in a big city, so odds are that happening are not real high. But what if? And there's some people, when you get up to my age and older, they've retired. So they've got Social Security or retirement coming in, and then they just do this for extra money. And that's fine. But if you're like Alex's age and you're strictly just, and I know Alex don't, and he already said it, he don't depend on just DoorDash. He diversifies, which everybody should. But there's a lot of people that don't. And they get deactivated or whatever. They're going to have a month or so without any income. That's what bothered me the most about Spark was the wear and tear on the car. Yeah. We have to cross that bridge. That's, that's pretty much the way I've lived my entire life. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, and hopefully we don't get to that bridge, but good night. I'm going to bed. All right. Good night. Yep. It's 9:20. You got to get up and go to school. Also, January was actually pretty great for me comparatively. I can tell you one thing about Amazon. Amazon is going, but all the videos I've watched from different content creators on doing affiliate marketing and all that said that the first quarter is always the lowest one because you're coming off of Christmas and all of that, and then it'll start picking back up. Sadly, enjoy school, because when you get out, you got to worry about stuff like this. How you're going to pay the bills. So stay in school. Stay in school. Don't be a fool. Yeah, should have told myself that a long time ago. Made the same as last year while also raking in from a W-2 this year. That's good. Yeah. See, you've got other things besides the gig apps. So if something miraculously happened, no more gig apps, you still got income. But there's a lot of people that don't. And they just depend on one or two things, and that's it. My concern is, and we're not going to get into politics, but I'm curious as what's going to transpire on the tariffs as far as imports. I know not everything is getting uh, tariff taxes added to it, not all products coming from overseas, but some of them are. I'm curious to see what's going to happen to these sellers who want the videos, but they can't just give the stuff away because now it costs so much to ship it to the U.S. That has been my only issue with our leader in chief now. Everything else I'm 100% for, but I'm not going to get into political stuff. But it's something to think about as far as the what the prices are going to do. Yeah, most W-2 jobs are more stable, but you know, Walmart, Target, I would tend to say that Walmart's probably more stable than working for the state of Texas. To be honest with you, he did bring up the tax. He did bring up the tax on tips again after he was inaugurated. He was supposed to drop that and drop the taxes on overtime. My cousin is getting back into delivery work after 2 years since he is going back to school. Shooting for 400 a week. He's got transferable skills through those, so he could fall back on things if it did. You are laid off. In most markets, I think $400 a week is doable. You can still do $400, $500 a week here. It's just sometimes you may, right now, I think my acceptance rating on Spark is 18%. I'm fixing to look, but I remember looking earlier because I finally got on the green side of the 4.7 customer rating. So maybe I'll get my Walmart Plus again this month. I hadn't had it in the last 2 or 3 months because I haven't been doing as much Spark, so you don't get the opportunity to have somebody rate you. I've never really worried about it going down too far. And people get mad because Walmart's out of something, so they rate their driver for that. I know they do because I've heard people talking about it. I'm putting a bad rating. Well, we had nothing to do with it. But just got to pick and choose. But I'm just glad that I kind of got into the Amazon thing. I got to give my daughter something. Well, technically, I gave it to her, but it's for my granddaughter's room. And then Aiden, my oldest grandson, was with her when she came over to get it today. He got a monitor, some microphones, but he wanted the music controller thing because he's into gaming and he's going to try to see if it'll change his voice and stuff. And I remember, I think it did a cartoon voice, but I can't remember. Anyway, I told him just take it. So doing this Amazon stuff's kind of neat because you can give your kids and grandkids stuff and things like that. All right, Krista. Have a great night. I'll be around for a little bit going to Grandpa's house this night Christmas. Apparently, well, they hadn't been here. Well, Aiden had, because he helped me move. Him and Kason and Graceland, they helped me move. But my daughter hadn't been over here. She had to get my address. But yeah, and I didn't mind Bowie selling stuff at the flea market in Bowie. Imagine a little country town that's probably 60 miles away from a bigger town. podcasting mics is probably not in high demand. So, you know, I didn't mind him taking them, and I told him, I said, if you can use them, great. You know, the little mute soundboard, that's what it is. The soundboard, I said, if you can use it, great. If you can't, rebox it, put it on the trading post, sell it, and you can have the money. See, keeps me from having to fool with it. And the other stuff, I've been taking to the Bowie flea market, and I don't want to keep taking the same stuff month after month after month. If I walked by a booth or whatever, and they had the same thing every month, I'm like, show us something new, you know, something different, something exciting. So, and that monitor, I'm taking it to Bowie 3 months, and it's funny what the difference between a bigger city and a country town. Of course, you're going to have some younger folks that are wanting to do podcasts and things like that, but not very many of them, and most of them not going to be out at the flea market. Anyway, but yep, I'm just curious as what the gig economy is going to do this year. You know, I haven't kept up a whole lot with it. I know Uber's still in the state of Colorado, and Colorado's passing some kind of mandates for transparency and all that. And you know, if Colorado gets it through, and then other states may follow. Well, it's I don't know. I probably wouldn't invest in any of these gig apps now because I think their rates on stuff are so high. I think there's going to be less and less people using them. They don't have to now. You know, back in the pandemic when they was popping up like weeds and making money hand over fist, those days are gone. Unless something major happens. I don't foresee these gig apps continuing to grow at the rate they were growing. I'm not saying they'll go away, but I think there's going to be less and less people using them. Apparently, your state is introducing 50-cent tax on deliveries. The state's wanting to get their money, and they waited a little late. They should have done it about 4 years ago. But we'll see. I'm not saying the gig apps will go away. I'm just saying that things are going to tighten up on it. Google article, Uber CEO saying drivers have about 10 years left before they will be replaced. I notice how low people tip nowadays. The only good days make big venture weekends, even they aren't predictable. Yeah. I really try to work on Sundays for sure. Sundays on Spark is the big day. The last couple of Saturdays, I worked on Saturdays and made a little bit of money, but I'm trying to make extra money to cover the electric bill, which, is what it is on that. But yeah, Mondays are iffy. Tuesdays are usually the worst. Wednesdays are iffy. Thursdays get a little better. Fridays are decent. And there for a while, Saturdays wasn't that good, but I did all right Saturday. But Sundays is always the best. As far as like the drivers for Uber and stuff, I guess maybe I wonder if they're talking about like the rideshare and totally autonomous vehicles. That's a very high possibility. I think. I don't. I kind of believe something may go on there Oh, Elon may buy him his own delivery. That's not going to be surprising if he doesn't start his own passenger delivery, because he's got the resources and he's got the company to build the totally autonomous vehicles. So why not double your money? But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. But I think the delivery apps are flatlining. I'm not saying they're dropping, but I think they're going to start flatlining if they haven't already. People don't really need food delivery, unless you're in an emergency situation. Food delivery, like Amazon Flex, what's that one that delivers for Target? We don't have them here. And Spark, I don't see that going away, because I'm kind of thinking in the next 10 to 20 years, I will not be surprised if there is no more going in Walmart. I'm working on an outline for a vid covering why apps are getting worse. Oh, really? Well, there you go. Well, I mean, they've driven themselves out of business because they keep jacking the rates up. And apparently it's some overly educated person that don't have any common sense, because you can make a lot more money selling something for a nickel and selling a lot of it versus selling something for a dime and only selling a little bit. Yeah, you're making twice as much per sale, but your sales are half. So it's better to make less and sell more than make more and sell less. It's common sense. I mean, just think about it. And it keeps everybody happy. Just my thoughts on that. Hey, Steve, how are you? I was enjoying the live over there, but I had to jump over here. My neighbors are a young couple that work long hours and always do food delivery. Well, hopefully their car don't break down, or if it does, hopefully they're putting some back for that, because it's too many people that don't put it back. And, it's like the one that was on the Facebook group taking $13 orders, and that's fine temporarily, but eventually your car is going to go down. And you better have made a lot more than $13 deliveries. Walmart's put on, let's see, Byers, Electra, Devo, Oklahoma, Henrietta, like 4 or 5 towns that are 20 plus miles away. Byers, I think it was showing 22 miles. No, there was one that was 31 miles. I forgot where it was going, but it was 31 miles, because I thought that's 62 miles round trip. And it was paying like $19. And some fool going to be taking it, though. Yeah, too much stuff. And that's why I'm I don't know if Walmart will ever do it, but it would make sense, because number one, it would cut down the need for as many employees, sadly, and I don't agree with that one, but but it cut down on theft, other than your employee theft, which is a huge chunk of the theft. But curbside and deliveries, and really, for the average person, it's cheaper to have stuff delivered, like from Walmart, especially Walmart. Because if you go to Walmart, and I imagine everybody in here does it, you go to Walmart for a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk, and I about bet you're going to come out with more than that. And if you'd have done an online order and ordered a gallon of milk and a loaf of bread, that's it. So you say, I told customers, I said, I think it's cheaper, because you're not going to be buying those impulse items. That'll be the only thing that would keep Walmart and other places from doing just the delivery services, is because impulse items makes up for a lot of retail. No, I'm saying the neighbors are always ordering food and having food delivered to their home. Boy, they better be making some good money. I saw how much it is to order door. I was going to order a pizza the other day. It was going to be like the pizza was like $16.99, and it was going to be like $36 to have it delivered. Um, Probably 4 blocks. Let's see. You go up this street, down one street, up a little bit of another street, and it's right there. Probably a half a mile. That was insane. No, I don't think so. I went into another place and got another pizza, and went and picked it up myself. No, Uber Eats showed me $7 for 31 miles the other week. Yeah, well, that's Spark's getting that way, and Uber is doing Spark here now. I know a lot of places Uber's been doing Walmart delivery, but they're doing it here now. One of the guys that I talk to pretty regular when I sing in the store, um, he's on Uber and Spark, and he said if it wasn't for Uber, he wouldn't be making it on Spark because he's still getting the Walmart deliveries, but it's under Uber. But the apps could always optimize user learning, and when checking out, show specials and impulse items. Yeah, I've seen one or two roadies in the last 4 years. I used to leave roadie on all the time. I don't even know if it's logged in now. I don't fool with roadie. It got so horrible. I used to get a lot of Best Buy deliveries. I love those. Deliver a microwave or a game, and you pay 18, $19 every time. Only going a couple of miles, but now it's going like 19 miles for a couple of bucks. When Spark orders are on roadie, they pay awful worse than Spark. You know, Carl, the guy that I talked to, he didn't exactly, and I don't know him well enough to ask him. I ought to though. I think I will. How the Uber Spark compares to the or Uber Walmart order compares to the Spark Walmart order, and if you had to pay that much for your pizza delivery and then you expected to tip the driver. Now we understand why sometimes people don't tip. Oh, I understand why people don't tip. I don't agree with it. We had a little, not a squabble, but on a Reddit post, I commented and they commented. No, it was on the Facebook group. And the guy says he pays for his Walmart Plus. He don't have to tip. And I broke it down. I said, you're paying a little over $1 a delivery if you have Walmart delivered a couple of times a week. That's what it's costing you. And if, I don't know. I don't remember what else was said, but that was it. Because if you break down that was it $96 a year? It comes out to like $1.30. Somebody can do the math if they want, but it's a little over $1 a delivery if you have like 2 deliveries a week. And if you can't tip $5 and $5 is not a great tip, but it's a decent tip. If you've got an $11 base pay shopping order and the person tips $5, that's $16. 16 is getting into the range where it's iffy. It depends on how far it's going and how many items is on it. But I've seen a few orders that was like $26 for 70 to 80 items, not quantity, the items. The quantity was be like 144 because they're getting duplicates of things. Roadie doesn't pay the best unless customer tips. Those are on car and truck parts or scripts. The scripts used to pay good here when I lived in town. Well, it's been about 2 years now since the last one I did, but roadie especially like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And you can get $50 and $60 orders to drive. At that time, it would be drive a mile or so to the pharmacy and then about 3 miles to the nursing home. So you're looking at 12 miles round trip. And half the time I was up anyway. I jumped all over those. Which chain just announced that they're working to implement facial ID, said they could introduce individual discounts and pricing easy transferable to an app. Wow, I don't know about that one. Man, that's kind of getting biblical there. I'll use Rody to encourage somewhere else, something coming back. And that used to help me on Rody because a lot of the airmen would order stuff from Best Buy. And when I was doing Bot Squad, I had a base ID and I could get on the base and take those Rody orders. And all you had to do, you didn't take them to the dorms, you took them to the post office with Rody. You know, food delivery and stuff you had to take to the dorms. But with Rody, you took it to the post office on the base. And then they would sign for it. And then the airman or airwoman would come over to the post office and pick it up. And I'd argue they already do to an extent. They offer different promos depending on your order history. I keep getting 40% off of my machine offers from Uber Eats since I used it once like 3 years ago. Yeah. And the whole thing with TikTok, that's as far as looking in and paying attention and tracking people and stuff like that. I laughed about that joke about worrying about the Chinese finding out if Sue Ellen ordered Tampax or what, Super Slims or whatever, you know. I watched a video the other night from a guy that a whiz on electronics and stuff, and he was talking about the chips, and I've got a vacuum cleaner that is by that brand, came from Walmart, but they had traced it, and when you hook up the vacuum cleaner to your Wi-Fi, you can program the vacuum cleaner, but it also communicates to servers in China. So they're worried about a social media platform when you've got products that are content, in communication with servers overseas. They just don't like the fact that people can share news with each other without it being regulated by the U.S. government. Anyway, funny fact I learned about Bot Squad from you. Yeah, there's COO Chris Barnes is now COO of Delivery. Oh, really? That's cool. I liked Bot Squad. I hated to see him go out. But that's what it did teach me, though, that just because an app is really popular in your area doesn't mean that it can't get pulled. And I always got deliveries on it, not just to the base. It was delivering to civilians too. But Bot Squad was the only one that was supposed to be allowed on the base. People did deliver Uber and stuff out there, but technically they wasn't supposed to. And I did. I delivered Uber out there, and I picked up passengers out on base. But technically, you wasn't supposed to because they wasn't allowed. I told Chris, you liked Bot Squad, but I never was on it. Yep. It was pretty cool. For some reason, my camera just keeps, I've got it set, and then occasionally it goes up. And I turned off the auto tracking because this camera has two lenses. Got one facing the front door and then one shining on the car out there. But it's nice to be able to look out there and see what's going on. Banks, our government does not like unregulated news. Only folks news is the free world country. Yep. I think that's the whole deal on TikTok. It has nothing to do with China listening in. And anybody that believes that has lost their ever loving mind, because who cares what you're buying? The marketers care about that. And those are going to be from Walmart. They're going to be from Google. They're going to be from Yahoo, you know. And what they could find out from users is any useful information is going to be privileged information, and those people are not going to be putting it out there anyway. You know, you're talking about CIA and FBI and things like that, you know. But North Carolina is probably what really broke the ice. You had too many people putting the real news out there that lived in North Carolina and saw the bodies being thrown in the back of the 48-foot trucks, trailers, bodies filled up with trailers. And then the news says, oh, there was 20 people that drowned and 10 are missing. And that was crap. You could see it on TikTok, and the government didn't like that. And then when you tell that people, the Amish built all those temporary tiny houses, brought them to North Carolina free. Government said, oh, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. They wouldn't let them live in them. Oh, kind of glad we got a different leader now. We'll see what happens. I'm sure there's going to be some negative things. There always will be, no matter who's in the office. But we'll see how many positive things come out. If a government employee has TikTok on their work phone, then we've got bigger problems. Well, they can't have it. They banned that from well, if it's used for work on their computers and on their phones, they banned that last year or the year before last. So they couldn't have it. But it's not really it's the public that's sharing the news that the government don't like. Because TikTok, they can form a militia within hours. They already proved that one. You got thousands of people tuning in. I stand by my statement. Yeah, well, if a government employee has TikTok on. Well, yeah, well, I mean, if they're watching TikTok videos instead of working, that's a big problem. That's for sure. I know when I worked for 911, we had computers in the back that we could use, but you couldn't go on Facebook or anything. You could use it to search if you was doing shopping orders or whatever on Amazon. Even at the state of Texas, when I worked at the state hospital, you could use the computers on a limited basis, but you couldn't go to like social media and places like that. Trump will make everything. Well, if he's going to say better and didn't finish, I hope you're right. I'm quite sure make everything worse. Well, he's making a lot of things better right now. But with that being said, there ain't no president ever made everything perfect and everything good. There's always been some bad with the good, and you just got to figure out which is which. Government employees would be stupid to be on TikTok, though. TikTok users will twist all that content up. Yeah, well, the news media twists a lot up. We all know that one. Trump will make everything worse. Everything he touches turns crap. Ronnie Wilson. I guess we'll see what happens. I'm Oh, okay. Gotcha. I'm like, Ronnie was the man, Reagan. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's fun to watch some of his old statements that they play on social media and little clips, and he nailed it on a lot of different things. But I'm sure he probably and I'm not a political person. I know some things that need to be changed, and some things that are getting changed probably shouldn't be changed. But like I said, they're all going to do some things that are good and some things that are not so good because you ain't going to please everybody. And that was, I think, one of Biden's biggest problems is he was trying to please everybody because he didn't know if the left hand was moving or the right hand was moving. He was just had somebody moving them for him. We won't say who it was, but we all pretty much know who it was. He was just a yes man. He didn't want to hurt nobody's feelings. He wanted to do what everybody told him to do. Yeah. No, none of them have been. The presidents promote working across party lines. We could discuss a couple of political things, but I really don't want to get into it because I don't want to ruffle nobody's feathers. And I am the kind of person though. I'm not going to sit there and get mad and argue and want to fight if somebody don't agree with the way I think, and that is wrong on both sides of the fence. And none of it, it'll all come out in the wash. Anyway, I think we'd have probably been a lot better off if they would have put Ross Perot back in, or putting him in, what was it, 25 years ago? But I do not have political discussions unless I know the person is not too far left or right. You can political knock me. I have some things I'd like to say, but I'm not going to. Because, like I said, it's not, and it's a lot, like you just said, unless you know the person, because a lot of people really get upset and angry. I mean, like fighting, they want to have a physical fist fight. But to me, it's not worth it. What? It's not going to make any difference what I think or you think or anybody else thinks. It's going to happen the way it's going to happen, no matter what. When a president wins the House and Senate and the mandate to stick to the party line, when a president doesn't have the House and Senate, it's a mandate to compromise. Yeah. I think I don't know. I think he might have been a good president. He was a good businessman. I don't think we need politicians. I think we need somebody with some just good old common sense. I've watched last night. When you're scrolling through Facebook, and maybe it's because I watched a couple, because now I'm getting a bunch of them. It'll say the best Western, and it'd be like John Wayne movies and stuff, just clips out of them, and Quigley Down Under. But there was one with Matt Dillon, on Gunsmoke, and they was they asked him a question that was kind of like a little interview thing out on the at the shoot, and he said that would be a better question for the producer. And they was talking about how law was handled back then, and then I forget what his real name was, Matt Dillon, came back in, chimed back in on it, and he said, back then a lot of the laws wasn't really laws because there wasn't as many laws as there is now. and you had to just kind of go by your gut instinct and what you thought was right. And if you was the marshal, you're the one that kind of set the laws for according to what you thought. And that's kind of, in my opinion, that's kind of the way the government ought to be run. Look at what makes sense. You know, what's the best way you think? You're not everybody's not going to agree with you. You know, there's a lot of things the Middle East does that I'm 100% for. If you're a thief, you lose a finger. If you keep thieving, you'll wind up losing your hand. You know, if you do the crime, you're gonna pay. And it's not just saying just by time, but by a thief can't steal without hands. Yeah. It might be cruel and unusual punishment, but it will set an example and it will end. I'll say publicly, I'm anti big government. Yeah. I started to eat low carbs and my type 2 diabetes vanished, etc. After 4.7, no more shots or meds. Cool. That's great. One of the best diets I was ever on, I was working at Blue Cross, and it was a diabetic diet, and I would love to find it. But it was, you could pretty much eat everything, but you had to cut your portions down. You had to weigh them and all that, and it was kind of a pain. But I lost some weight doing that, and I still got to eat. Yeah, really great. If I keep if I keep drinking that sweet tea like it's going out of style, we'll be taking shots myself. But I don't eat a lot of sweets, so I've never ate a lot of candy, and some of the candy that I used to like, I don't really like anymore. I guess radiation fried my taste buds in some areas. I don't know. But, wow, that thing says there's 21 watching. I don't know if there really is 21, but that would be totally. I don't think I've ever had that many people watching. Cutting portions makes you hungry. I ate huge salads and meat, but no bread, potatoes, or sweet fruits. The main the main thing that I remember about this one, that there was a spray butter, and you use like you baked potato. You can only have so big of a baked potato, but you use that spray butter that was supposed to be less carbs in it or whatever. Um, I wasn't in charge of doing all that. I was just in charge of eating what we got, you know. So I didn't keep up with it a whole lot. I don't have delivered here. I think Steve looked that up one time and or talked to him about it or something. It's not here. Brandon, I'm off the bed. We never figured out you're coming out snowmobiling. We should get on a call this weekend and see if it's possible. I am ready. I have talked about it. There's one of the YouTube guys that I watch, Brian G. Johnson. He lives up there in your neck of the woods, and I had mentioned it, and he said, "Dress warm." I said, "I am ready. I want to do it before I'm too old to do it or die first. You know, I think it'd be a lot of fun. Butter is fat, no carbs. Whatever low. Maybe it's the salt in it. I don't know. I just know it was a spray butter, and it tasted fine to me. I put butter in my coffee. I don't drink coffee though. And I used to drink Dr. Peppers like they was going out of style, and then I quit and started drinking tea. But now it's that what is that? Not Red Diamond, but the other one that Walmart carries. I can't think of it, but they've got a super sweet now. And man, that's good. And the Chicken Express. I don't know if Chicken Express is up north or wherever, but their sweet tea is really sweet tea. And good night, Steve. Appreciate you coming by and hanging out for a little bit. And yeah, Text me, call me, whatever. I will be around this weekend. Maybe out doing deliveries, but I usually got my little headset on. So, anyhow, have a good one. Grading orders are sparse, but sometimes they pay really well. Well, I don't, and St. Louis, Tim does really well up there gig wise on the catering orders. We had a judge like that. The punishment fit the crime when somebody stole the Lone Ranger's guns out of some luggage at the Houston airport, and he made them clean the police horse. There you go. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, my daughter got in trouble when we lived in Iowa Park. She was hanging out with some boys, and they was painting graffiti on the picnic table. Nothing vulgar and bad, but they were defacing city property. And I told her she was getting arrested, and I said, they're going to roll on you, and they're going to say, you did it. When Sherry, she was the cop there, when she came to pick her up, I said, you know what would do these kids so much better, so much more good? Don't take them to jail. Make their butts get out there and clean that park every day for like a week. I mean, picking up trash, picking up any dead fish that float up. I mean, put them to work. Because when they sit down there at the jail, they ain't doing nothing but hanging out with their other people, maybe their friends. Put them to work and make them pay for that. You know, make them scrub them tables and clean them. Make them pick up that trash around that lake for a week. Do it again. Do it for 2 weeks. They're going to get tired of it eventually. Some crimes, I don't think jail's the answer because it doesn't really teach them as much as what it would if they had to get out there and make up for what they did. Just my opinion, though. What I know. I've never even been handcuffed. I got frisked one time, but never been handcuffed. Never been in a cop car other than the ride-alongs when I worked at 911. Anyway, yeah, it's 10:04, so I'm going to get out of here. Does this mic go up and down like if I talk louder, or does it come out? Because I watched a video that was talking about your audio on YouTube, and it says that YouTube automatically tries to level out the audio. I didn't know if it really came through like that. I don't know. Maybe I worry too much about little things that don't really matter. But I hate watching. It's like the old days when you'd watch TV, and some of it still may be, but you're watching a movie and you got to turn it up real loud to hear the movie. And all of a sudden a commercial comes up, and if you're half asleep, you're wide awake now because it's just like rattling the walls. I agree. You destroy something, you put it back together. Yeah, 100%, you know. Which, as it turned out, she didn't get in much trouble. I mean, they rolled on her, but then the truth came out. So audio's good and steady. Well, that's what I was wondering, if it was like up and down, because I need to work on that more, is to keep my voice more at one level or close to level. There's some mics that I really like to have, but they're like $400. But they have a clip. What's it called when you go over the level? Clipping. They have a clipping level, and it won't let your audio clip. When it just like gets too loud and distorted, it'll automatically level it back out. You can do it in post, but it'd be so much easier if it was done in the mic. Anyhow, I am going to get out of here, and I'm actually going to do the review on this microphones. We'll see how good they are. Anyway, appreciate y'all coming by. Y'all have a great night, and consider other alternatives other than gig apps if you're just doing gig apps. And don't count on just one thing. I think I pretty much say that all the time. But anyhow, I do appreciate every one of y'all. Y'all have a great night, and better tomorrow. Y'all keep smiling, dashing, dancing, prancing, doing whatever it is you want to do. Just keep doing something, because you're going to grow old if you don't. And we'll see y'all next time, Lord willing. I'll be here. Bye, y'all.